Good afternoon. So I wanted to speak to you just briefly, give you a little bit of information. Tonight I'm going to be having a podcast on blogtalkradio.com/Global Witness. The link for the podcast will be in the description box below. Join me at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And the subject matter is going to be something that I've received a tremendous amount of requests for, which is how to separate yourself from the beast system and this world. Now, for every single person, this is different. For me, it's different. For you, it's going to be different. You have children. There's lots of these different concerns that conjure up. But listening to Jeffrey Doherty today on his show, he was discussing something that really is what I will be discussing. That the lies of this world, the lies that we have been forced to consume, they have an impact on who you are. So the awakening is very dramatic, not just on the outside, but if you do not address the inside of it, on the impact that it had on you, then you're going to have problems. So there is the scripture which I've referred to that Christ says the demons get removed and they go from you and they go out and seek for waterless places. They find waterless places, and then when they find nothing, they'll come back and find the house cleaned and swept up, and they'll bring 7 of their friends. Well, I've witnessed this take place, that when someone isn't willing to digest these new truths into themselves and have it rearrange the thoughts and feelings and the understanding that you had about yourself, the difference of allowing yourself to be forgiven, the difference is allowing yourself to forgive, even for things that you think that you didn't do. This is a cleansing. This is a cleaning from the inside out. And that must take place. If you're not willing to do that in humility, and you don't go in and do that house cleaning, then what will happen is your frustration will come out because of your lack of understanding of what is inside. What you do not contend with internally will come back 10 times worse and destroy you. Now, I've witnessed this in people that have come to the channel, felt the enlightenment, understood these new truths, but didn't deal with the inside, and then they come back viciously, demonically attacking, making awful accusations, and then they begin spreading these accusations and lies, like I've made death threats against people, and I drink baby's blood, and you name it. Whatever is spoken out there is it's truly demonic. And so as I witness this take place, what I want to express to you is that when you bring up something to somebody, I had an amazing experience having a conversation with a guy that I was speaking to him about a bunch of truths, a bunch of spiritual truths, and he was seeing and being enlightened by it. And I could see the impact on him. But the minute I mentioned that 9/11 was an inside job, he completely blew up at that. Now, that response is a protection mechanism, because once you accept a truth like that, once you begin to understand, no matter how much evidence there is, these people will avoid this. And the reason for this is because once you accept that truth, it's like a domino effect, that if you're willing to accept that, it will then go across dominoes throughout all the things that you ever believed. And that's just not an exercise that they're willing to go through, because at the same time, that destruction of the things that you believe becomes this destruction of the things that you've done as a result of that. So if you've acted out your life believing in this God of wrath and this God of division and this God of separation, well then you've obviously done things in your life in honor of that God. It is a very difficult thing for people to accept that they have been worshiping Satan unknowingly and doing his works unknowingly, feeling righteous. So these are incredible challenges within us. This isn't to point your finger at somebody and say you're evil, because if you've judged them as evil, then you've also judged yourself as evil. So what you're doing is judging the actions and the spirit within them as that is what is evil, because it truly is. And you watch it, and the protection mechanism that is based on ego will come out in vicious forms. absolutely vicious. So tonight I'm also going to be appearing on Jeffrey Doherty's channel as well at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So my podcast is 7 p.m. Pacific Time, and his channel will broadcast live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which would be 4 o'clock Pacific Time. So I will go right from Jeffrey's channel to the podcast. So I invite you to join over at Jeffrey's channel. I think it's going to be a wonderful discussion. We're going to be discussing the Visca Pisces system, humility, and all of these things from an internal standpoint. And then you can jump to the podcast channel and get an understanding of how to separate from the world, how to be in the world but not of it, and also from a perspective of how to separate yourself from the beast system. Now, this isn't just going to be a single podcast, because this is a subject matter that is obviously very diverse depending on different people. So the general ways to look at it is going to have to be something that you are able to extrapolate how that would apply to your life. So the podcast tonight will be a full 2 hours, and I'm also going to be pre-scheduling 2 or 3 more of those podcasts just for the same subject. I will be taking all of your calls and answering questions, because that's about the only way that we're going to get through the subject matter. I love you very much. I look forward to seeing you also on Red Letter Disciples. We had our premiere video yesterday, launched that. Thank you very, very much for all of the positive response and love sent to myself and Malia. I love you, and I'll see you very soon, and I hope to hear from you tonight.